And sing along if you know the words.
It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.
Wow, the Mike Rowe introduction. We love it. We have it again. Welcome to LifeVac Live. My name is Rick Thatcher. I'm joined by two inspirational so two great organizations. We're going to get to them, but first we had a little bit of a technical snafu last week, and we have Leanne Natras, who was last week's Save of the Week. We have her joining us on the phone from Colorado. Leanne, are you with us?
Hello, yes I am.
Leanne, it's great to hear you again, and while we're actually broadcasting. So Leanne, I'm going to step back a little bit and just remind you that I really became aware of you, new to LifeVac, new to the team, but thrown into Shop HQ. And when I go out there and do 4-hour segments and watch your story, I can't tell you how much inspiration I draw from it. The viewers watch from it, and when people ask, can you use this LifeVac to save yourself? The answer, of course, is yes. So, Leanne, I don't want to tell your story for you, but can you go back and tell us how you heard about LifeVac?
Well, we're a military family, and we travel often. And I had picked one up, and it was in our bag for travel, our first aid kit. And so I had it with us when we were in our Airbnb when we arrived in Colorado while we were looking for a house.
Okay, and so you had it for about how long before the incident?
Several months, quite
Okay.
a while. When my son started kindergarten, I wanted to grab it, so that school year. So within a year, less than a year.
Right, and I've learned, not from the video, but that you bought it to protect the kids.
Oh yes, definitely. I never considered it for myself in a million years. I was thinking about my children, especially my youngest. He has asthma. He chokes easily. We had a choking scare, which prompted me to look up LifeVac and learn about it, and to get one for our first aid kit. So, I definitely did not anticipate needing it for myself.
Right.
Sure.
Now we'll see the pictures of this beautiful family, that the pictures that I see as you're telling the story. But tell us about what happened with the cherry.
My children were busy. They were doing work, schoolwork, and they had their headphones on. And I was in the kitchen of our Airbnb and cleaning off fruit for them, and just popped a cherry in my mouth, and I don't really know how it happened, but I choked on it. Both the cherry itself and the pit. I just kind of inhaled the whole thing. And there's a moment when you've never choked before, there's a moment where you just don't believe it's really happening. And I couldn't make any noise. You can't call for it. It's extremely silent. There's nothing you can do. You can't cough, you can't breathe in, you can't breathe out. And so I couldn't really get my children's attention. I also didn't want to scare my kids. And it wasn't until I started seeing stars and was really dizzy and had to sit down. I tried to call 911 and dropped my phone on the floor. So that's how I ended up on the floor, actually. And there in the cabinet on the floor, which the cabinet door was right there and open, actually, was the first aid kit, because I travel and always keep it with us and nearby. And my children have medical stuff, and my husband has medical stuff. So we always keep the medicine nearby, and I was just so lucky it was right there for me to grab it.
Yeah, you had said in the video test, or the Skype video, that after using it, and it didn't take long, but you had called 911. EMTs got there about 9 minutes after you dislodged the pit.
Oh,
so time is of the essence, right?
Yeah, it was. I was breathing thanks to LifeVac by the time the ambulance arrived. There was some confusion because I dialed 911 but was unable to communicate. When I dropped my phone and was on the floor and fumbling around with the things, with the bag, and trying to get stuff, my youngest came around the corner and asked what was going on. And that was when he realized there was something scary happening. And he did pick up my phone. He did talk to the 911 operator, and they did dispatch ambulance immediately. But it was several minutes that I had cleared my airway with LifeVac that before they arrived. And they were just floored. They took photos of it, actually, with the cherry in the chamber, because they were floored. And she told me, one of the paramedics told me, she said this call could have been very, very different. She just could not believe. She actually asked me to show her how I did it.
Wow, Heidi, we implemented out there, yeah? Yeah, because that's what happens. So body cams, your story, sharing it on Shop HQ and outlets like this, but also the police body cam videos, the nanny cams, the Ring doorbell videos that have shown lives being saved is one of the main reasons we're up to over 2,400. We'll get an exact count, but it's just amazing. And we thank you so much for sharing. Arthur was here last week. He's not here this week, but he was struck by your thought of your kids. And I think we're all parents, Gina, Jay, myself, our audience, exception of Lenny. You have a 3-year-old? Everyone's a parent in here, so we can all identify with that. You want to, number one, protect, but your first thought was with them.
Oh, yes, absolutely, for sure. And the first time that I put it to my face, I was just kind of acting on instinct and trying to, not scare my children, involve my children. You don't really have time to think. But that was when I started to realize that I was going to lose consciousness. My arms felt really heavy and numb, kind of, and I started to. I knew that my next attempt was going to be my last chance to try to get it out, and thankfully it worked. I don't know where that strength came from, but it worked.
Had you tried, the standard protocol we always stand behind and encourage people to do, back blows, abdominal thrusts? Had you tried anything before using the LifeVac?
No, I had leaned over the sink, and tried to, get it cleared up. You just kind of, so I had tried to, cough it or clear it up. You kind of panic. I was kind of flailing a little bit over the sink. I had the water running. I kept the water running. I didn't turn it off. It happens so fast. It really does. And you never think it's going to happen to you. I'm a full-grown adult, and I never in a million years thought I would choke like that. But I had a complete airway obstruction.
Yeah. Well, we're so thankful that you had this, and along with, I see the pictures as you're telling the story on Shop HQ, and I see the pictures. Those pictures are so different without you, saving yourself. And we thank you for continuing to share your story. Look at the beautiful family, even the dog.
Yes, thank you.
It's
yes.
just great.
That was my husband's service dog. Yes, they were not home. They were out with the realtor house hunting. So yeah, it was just me and the boys. But my birthday is tomorrow, and it's another birthday that I'm here.
Oh, that's so great. That's so great. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
And when we go to Shop HQ, I hope you'll call in live next month. I think I will get the final date, August 2nd or 3rd. But enjoy talking to you live tonight. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
All right.
Feel better.
All right.
And thank you all for your
Bye.
service, too. We didn't get a chance to talk about the military service, but we thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much.
All right. God bless.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Wow. So inspiring. So we move to our in-studio guests. Thanks so much for Leanne for calling in. It's great. We get the country so connected, the LifeVac family. But two people I want to introduce that kind of, mentioned it before, but Jay Sparrow and I used to work together in the pharma industry, and then just had an amazing turn in life. And Gina, we met at the radio station, and I see this connection between people that suffer or exposed to a traumatic experience, life experience, and then do something. And I think back, I've only been here a short time, but the the tragic situation that Arthur Lee witnessed and thought about, and then he thought about protecting his family, it was just, there was a common thread in the room tonight. So, Gina, why don't we start with you? Thanks so much for coming, and
Thank you.
yeah, tell people about Paige and about her story.
Paige was my third. She was absolutely beautiful, perfect 6-year-old. And in January of 2018, she told her nurse aide that she had a really bad headache. And she immediately just started crying, and Paige was not a frequent flyer to the nurse's office. So she went with a little partner to the nurse. They called me and said Paige is here and she's really upset with a headache. And about 4 minutes later, they called me and said that Paige is unconscious and we have an ambulance coming. I made it there maybe within 8 minutes, and I had no idea what was happening to her. I thought it was the flu, a fever. She was not responsive. She was seizing. And we made it to a grueling ambulance ride. I really can't even go into detail. You can only imagine. And upon arrival, they were on top of her. She was coded multiple times in front of our faces, and we found out that she had a brain AVM, which is an arteriovenous malformation, which is a malformation of vessels in the brain. And fast forward, we found out that develops in utero, and Paige would have survived if it was detected early. And
there's no scan that's routinely done?
Currently, no.
That's what we're working towards?
That's where I come in.
Yeah.
And so many like me, and many that have suffered, survived, and lived with what I'm going through, and I'm looking to prevent all that, because much like you have a life-saving device and you strive to save lives,
Right.
we have something that's out there that's a silent killer, and it can be detected early. It just needs that fight.
The screening,
It
the
needs
awareness.
screening, scanning, awareness, and somebody to get out there and do it. And I feel like that's my purpose. That's what I do now.
And how long is the foundation?
We are coming up on our 4th year. It's been amazing. It's been, grueling in every stretch,
Yes.
more than you can imagine. I'm fortunate enough. I have recently partnered with Stony Brook University Hospital, working with their neuroscience department. Amazing team. We have a 2-year fellowship that's dedicated to AVM research, and we're looking to expand it. The only way to expand is through funding, which is really hard to get. We need data, we need numbers, but we're on the right track, and I'm so blessed to be partnered with them, and we're on the road to success.
Yeah.
And
We have some, well, we certainly have the website up there, but there she is. That's your page. Gosh, and it's like many of these cases, it's raising awareness, and there Gina is with the kids at the beach. Big Fire Island
Yes,
representative, right?
yes, very tight community.
Yeah, you can help make a difference. So in addition to I knew about the golf outing. We were trying to participate. We were a small but yet passionate team that's been pulled in a bunch of different directions. How else can people help?
We have a gala coming up in October, so we'll have information on our website for sponsorship, for donations, of course, and attending. We would love to be able to share with so many people all the work that we're doing, connecting with new donors, looking to expand my research department. So we have so many companies on Long Island that do diagnostic testing, and I am really hoping to connect with one of those companies to
Jay, I think we can help make that happen.
work with us
Yeah.
on our AVM research project. There's so much involved with that. We also do AVM awareness within school districts, which is so very, very important. It gets awareness out to the families. We do a fun fundraising and awareness piece with the kids in the school, but it's mostly about making families aware, and we also educate the staff within the schools, you don't realize the importance of it. Paige went into the nurse's office stroking as a 6-year-old. It's not something that you're used to.
What
You're
is the
used to,
prevalence, roughly?
all the signs and symptoms that she had. Loss of consciousness. So it's usually when somebody strokes, they're complaining of a headache or, paralysis on one side, loss of speech, droop of the body in different areas, vomiting, seizures, and then what I call lights out. There is no communication. Your eyes are rolling, your body can be stiff, and you can't even speak. And by the time I arrived to the nurse's office, now knowing all the things that I know, it was every telltale sign of a stroke. So
At that point, could anything be done?
yes. At the time that Paige stroked and had her brain AVM, there was no stroke unit available. Now there's a stroke unit at Stony Brook Hospital, which it's hard to even say it and swallow it because it came out, I think, in 2019. If 911, when they called and said, we have a patient, non-responsive, complaining of a headache, seizing, vomiting, that's immediate bells and whistles. This is a stroke.
Wow.
Stroke unit would likely have come on right on scene, and they could be treated in the unit. The stroke would have been detected where the bleed is coming from. She could have been prepped and ready to go right into surgery. So, I can't go backwards, but now knowing that I can educate nurses, teachers, these are the people that are seeing our kids, our families, and us as, first front, you're right there. It's how you call it into 911. Be very specific in what you're saying. And strokes don't only happen to adults, they happen to children, and it's with aneurysms as well, which are so common. We're here in Massapequa, and there's a little boy named Tyler Abazid. He died right here at the park, right up the road, and I met his mom in the beginning of my process. They have a beautiful foundation in honor of him, and he stroked and lost his life to a brain AVM right on the basketball court with his friends. He was 15 years old. Same story as Paige, verbatim.
Is
He
it getting
survived.
better?
I think it is getting better. I will say, I think that with my awareness to the few schools that I have made an impact in, which is mostly Smithtown, St. James School District, I really think this needs to be out there for everybody. It's a very simple thing. It's a phone call. It doesn't cost them anything. But there was another little boy in our community, same age as Paige, which is so ironic, in first grade, kept going into the nurse's office, complaining of a headache. And the nurse was very heightened to Paige's story. It was in the Smithtown School District. She did everything she was supposed to. Called the mom, did everything. Got to take him to the doctor. She did, the mom. And the pediatrician just sent him home with a headache. And they went to the emergency room, and he was gone within a few hours. And it's hard to say with pediatricians and things, it's a trained eye. And I feel so strongly if you can't go back in time, you just can't. But I know that Stony Brook Hospital, for example, they'll never forget Paige's story. And I see these nurses, I meet with the doctors on a regular basis, and they're just like, I'll never forget you. I'll never forget, and all the things that you have done. And making an impact with these nurses and the staff in schools. Just give me 5 minutes of your time. Your monthly meeting, I just ask for 5, maybe 10 minutes once a year. Let me educate you on stroke awareness and what to do, how to call it in. I provide each school with a poster, much like Are You Choking? Which now should be this in every single school.
Yeah, I'm trying to get us started on those choking posters.
Yes.
Horrible, right, Heidi? Yeah.
Yes, it should be this.
Yeah.
So mine
an
is
option.
the stroking.
Yeah.
And it's signs and symptoms, but I incorporate everything from stroke, this, that, whatever. And just seeing those posters in the nurse's office is going to put off, okay, that's the picture. I remember that story. I remember that girl.
Right.
And when they call it in, they'll know. We also have like little informational videos, very kid-friendly videos. If a kid should see another friend that's going through this, because it happens all the time. Little boy in Massapequa that was 15, happened right in front of his friends. And his best friend was the one that called his mom. And she was explaining what was happening to him. So, you know, this is how we make change.
Right. Awareness.
And it's hard, but it'll
You
happen.
it sounds like you got a great support system.
Yeah.
And the LifeVac family is, I mean, we kind of identified a common spirit
Yes.
to help
And
each other. So we're here for you.
I
and
look
we're
forward
definitely
to
going to
saving
this.
the first life.
Heidi, would you go with me
I would.
to the gala?
I
It's
would.
a gala, right?
I
In
would
October?
definitely
Yes.
get to buy me a corsage.
Yes, because we were recently at a PA
It's gonna be
Mom's
fabulous.
prom,
Yeah.
and I had to get the.
He didn't give me the corsage.
I didn't. Yeah.
He owes me.
But
I won't let him mess
appreciate
it up.
Your gala.
Appreciate you so
Absolutely.
much sharing this story.
thank you.
I know how painful it is. And,
Thank you for letting
and
me
what
share.
a great honor for Paige to have her mom. She must be smiling down.
I think she is.
Yeah.
She's living through me. She's giving me the strength, and I'm just going to keep going. And I do it for my other two kids and
Yep.
the future, because I want to be in your position. I want that phone call of
Oh,
the life I saved.
right. It's more of
I
you know,
can't
Arthur.
wait
Yeah.
To
No, it's gonna happen.
hear,
Yeah,
you know,
it'll happen.
that's just the completion,
Yeah,
you know.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. And
Thank
sitting
you.
here, nodding affirmatively to all this, an inspiring gentleman himself, Jay Sparrow. Jay, so welcome again. So we worked together, and then we kind of worked for different companies, and then I had heard about what you're doing. I think you were running the marathon first, and then taking care of your grandmother. But you could do a much better job than me.
Yeah. So for me, my grandmother had Alzheimer's. Come from a big Italian family. She was the matriarch to our family. So she had fallen, broken her hip. They brought her to Parker Jewish Nursing Home there. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. We were like, all right, she's just going to forget some things. The entire family went. We saw her, and we just noticed it was more than just forgetting. She was not the same person, and then our family fell apart from seeing her that way. But my mom, my dad, my aunt, and my uncle, they became their primary caregiver for her, and they went to the nursing home every single day for 8 years. One of the four of them, and I started to see that they started changing their life to make sure that she was okay. I went to the nursing home to see it firsthand myself. She had no clue who I was. And this was, someone who I knew loved me the most, and I loved her the most. And I was so embarrassed that she didn't know who I was that I would leave. And then I thought to myself, if I was in a situation, she'd be here with me every single day. So I got the strength to go back. And as I went back, she just seemed happy I was there, but didn't know who I was. And at that point, I had just run a New York City marathon, and I said, I want to do something that's going to raise awareness about Alzheimer's and how difficult it is. Honor my grandmother, and she was 90 years old at that time in 2016. So I decided to run 90 miles from the church in Montauk to the church in Plainview. And
How'd you see her run on 90?
because
she was
she was
90.
90. And
Gosh.
yeah, and then when I mapped out the church from Montauk to Plainview, it was like 89.7 miles. So I knew my grandmother had like a sense of humor. It wasn't quite 90.
Yes.
And I went for it. And I did the 90 miles. It's like unbelievable. You tell people you're doing it, and they're like, you can't do it. You shouldn't do it. Just visit her. But in my heart, I knew this is what I needed and what I wanted to do. And I ended up, linking up with the Long Island Alzheimer's and Dementia Center, which then was in Port Washington, which was a day program helping families who have a loved one with Alzheimer's dementia, where you could drop them off for the day, and they would help try to off the onset of Alzheimer's. And it gave respite to the caregiver. And I ended up raising $37,000 through that 90-mile run. And then every mile of that run, I met a family that was going through this, that I didn't even know like how big and prevalent this disease was.
Right.
And I dedicated a mile for 90 miles to a family. And in 2016, I said, I have to do more. And as I did more, I saw the caregiver. And the caregiver, they are so stressed They are depressed. They lose their job. They have nowhere to go. They're embarrassed. No one understands them. And that's why I continue to do these crazy runs. The caregiver, there is no finish line for them. And their life feels like they're going in a circle with no finish line, mentally, physically drained. So I ran 100 miles on a track as the significance of what their life is like. And I did that in 29 hours without sleeping. And that was really, really difficult. But I did that twice.
Yeah, difficult.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, I did that twice, and then another time I did it at Farmingdale State College during Hurricane Ian.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, caregivers, it could be 80 and beautiful out, but in their world, it's a hurricane.
It's a hurricane.
So I showed up, and I couldn't get it done. I only got to 82 miles that time. But I kept showing up because the caregiver, they show up every single day for their loved one, and
Right.
sometimes their family just they leave them and they're on their own taking care of the loved one.
Your family was still there, but you felt like you were on your own with your grandmother, right? It was you and your grandmother.
It was more my parents. No, I was not a caregiver. I just saw what my parents were doing for her.
Oh, okay.
And that stress, and that's what motivated me to honor my parents too for
Right.
what they've done for my grandmother by being there and making sure the nurses were taking care of her.
Right. And what's coming up?
So
This is insane.
yeah,
by the
so
way.
I've done a bunch of crazy things, but this year, the caregiver taking care of their loved one, it's like in one day, it's like they've run a marathon, so they're physically and mentally drained. So I'm going to run a marathon a day for 7 days. In a row. Yeah, Monday through Sunday, 26.2 miles a day. The last marathon will be the New York City Marathon, which is probably it's going to be the toughest.
Is anyone else there at the New York City Marathon aware or running a marathon any of the previous days, let alone 7?
I
Or
don't
6?
believe they are. I don't
We
believe they
should
are.
check. We should get in touch with New York
Yeah.
Athletic Club and see. Jay,
But as you guys are saying here, platform, and you're using this as a great platform for LifeVac, and
Right.
you're using this as a platform too to support those that see the signs of stroke early on, and I'm using it as a platform for those caregivers at home that feel like they're alone. They're not alone. There's somebody that really care for them and want to be there for them. There is a community here that wants to support them, and they're not alone. And then there are resources that we could better support them so they don't feel alone.
well,
Yeah. So I'm hoping to use the New York City Marathon as a platform, but I am going to be running at schools each day before that, so I
Yes.
could get into those school communities because they're affected. Parents and families are affected by this disease with students going to the school that we don't know about. So Farmingdale State College is going to be on Halloween. I'm going to dress up as Forrest Gump on that marathon day.
Yeah, that's great.
And then I have Farmingdale High School, Howard Middle School in Farmingdale, East Rockaway High School. The day before the marathon, to bring awareness to Long Island Alzheimer's Dementia Center in Westbury, I'm going to run around their corporate building that they are in with programs, 26.2 miles that day, and we're trying to get maybe 2 more schools.
wow. Well, I've offered, since you were on the radio with us, to lock in St. Anthony's. I just left him a message. And Don Correo, if anybody knows Don Correo, or Don Correo happens to be watching us, please let Jay come to run at St. Anthony's track October 28th.
Yeah, and Monday, October 28th.
Anytime
would be
in the
great.
morning. Anytime in the morning.
And I'm excited. My 2 kids are going to be starting St. Anthony's in September.
See?
Oh, nice.
So,
Don,
Don,
Give
you
us
can
a
come out
call.
to the track.
yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Maeve and Ronan will
No
be there in
kidding.
yes,
Wow.
September. So
Go Friars. Now, full disclosure, you were a Kellenberg guy.
I am.
But
Go
it's okay.
Firebirds.
Love
you've
Kellenberg.
matured. Yeah, it's a great school too.
Yeah.
But you've matured, and now you're willing to bring St. Anthony's, the Friars, into the mix.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine driving 90 miles 7 days in a row.
Yeah.
Really, look at there it is. If we could put that back up.
Yeah.
The Anna Sparrow Run, 28th through November 3rd, 183.4 miles, 7 marathons in 7 days by one man, Jay
it's
Sparrow.
incredible.
Yeah.
Really,
Well,
really incredible.
it's the caregiver. So like when I'm training, that was it. So I ran 50
Yep.
miles the day before that picture. That was a New York City Marathon. So, and then there's my grandmother.
There's your grandmother.
That's my daughter Olivia.
Oh, Olivia.
Yeah, she's 12 now. It's wild how time goes by.
It's funny, you mentioned before, 2016 was your first run. We call them Godwinks.
Yeah.
2016 was the first year that a life was saved with LifeVac. And the entire year, I would say this, 4.
Wow.
Now, Heidi, 4 is a very slow day, right?
It is.
Yeah. And we'll have the,
It's incredible.
yeah, it's really,
2016, 9 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
And what were we doing in like the mid 2000s? Just going to meetings and
Yeah, mid 2000s. I was
Selling Januvia?
I was very. I was a very selfish person, and then that's when
well,
I
I
made
wouldn't go
change.
that
Yeah, I
far.
know, but then I needed some change, and then sometimes the most difficult things that happen in our lives are the things that we need to do good.
Yeah.
And I had a bad, tough moment. My grandmother's Alzheimer's, and now $250,000 raised later for the Long Island Alzheimer's Dementia Center, and the countless
Amazing.
runs and the lives and the caregivers I've met. And I started my own nonprofit, the Anna Sparrow Project, in my grandmother's name to raise money and resources to directly support caregivers. We do a caregiver appreciation dinner, and I had my first one on May 8th, which would have been my grandmother's 99th birthday. And we had these caregivers come out who should be so bitter, upset, and mad, but they were so gracious and thankful to be at
Wow.
Chris and Tony's in Syosset. And we're going to have another one on August 21st at Ivorone. Yeah. So it's just trying to help people, and it's good.
Wow, you're
It's
doing
things.
good work, man. Great work, both of you.
That's great.
Yeah. So honored to have you come in, and you see the connection
Yeah.
and why. So it's just a great spirit, and we appreciate you sharing. We're going to be back after this quick break. Come on back on LifeVac Live. You guys are awesome.
This is great.
You going to stick around for pancakes? Totally up to you.
I gotta run.
Yeah, he can't.
I gotta run that.
I was in the living room when I heard my son Carter, who was 2 at the time. I looked over and I saw him grabbing for his face and his throat. I grabbed the LifeVac. I put the mask on his face and placed push-pull. The LifeVac dislodged the ice cube from his airway and he started crying. The most amazing sound I've ever heard in my entire life. Please protect your family. Get a LifeVac.
Hi, I'm Arthur Lee, founder, CEO, and inventor of LifeVac, a simple rescue device that can save a child's life in a choking emergency. All these people were saved with LifeVac. People may not realize that on average, 14 people a day die from choking-related incidents. Every 5 days, one of those is a child. As simple as place, push, pull.
To learn more, please visit lifevac.net.
Oh, hey.
Welcome
we're back.
back.
Hey, Heidi.
I know. I just jumped in. I figured,
Heidi.
you know.
How great. How great.
Thank you for
So it's so
bringing
great-
them. They were amazing. Great guests.
So inspiring.
Yeah.
Gosh, known Jay a long time, but just met Gina Keeley, and there's a lot of commonality. Just great emotion, people giving back, raising awareness for great things. And you have a gentleman
I
joining
have
us,
a
Brian.
really amazing gentleman on the line. This is my friend Brian Barkley.
Hello.
Brian, there he is, straight from California. So Brian and I met, I was looking back at my notes, 3.5 years ago already. I know, right? Time flies when we're having fun. And you weren't married yet, and you didn't have a baby yet. So a lot of changes in your life. And Brian was actually a cold call. Do you remember when you cold called me? Did I cold call you? Did you cold call me?
Let's get this straight.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
I'm gonna put in headphones. Well, I think we will about that. I've been some notifications we made at the time I were money that's made a defibrillator, and the companies cardiac and choke are just those that people were like, hey, use your device. Device. And so we looked at different products on the market, and I made a few calls, and one was IE, and instantly we made the decision that there was one of the brand that we were partnered with, and it was like and the reason was just the position that we came from when I talked to IE, and this is LifeVac, and just the pictures behind you
You got to come out. You got to come out with your wife and your little boy, and we'd love to have you. You made such a difference in my life in so many ways because you were my first big distributor. He worked for a little company that was acquired by a bigger company. And, at the time I was so excited because, it was really game changer when you gave me the audience with all your teams and we did some training, and I think your CEO jumped on and he goes, I got to meet this Heidi, Brian keeps talking about this Heidi. So, was really happy for you that you've now landed with this amazing company. Tell us a little bit about American Hospital Supply.
Yes. American Supply in 2021. This was after the working with fire. And what happened was, American Hospital Supply used to be a multinational corporation, and it was 100 business, and it had been brand name kind of vague, and I still knew when I would started they used the American Hospital Supply, and then the was really the brand that American Hospital used to be the working supplies industry for 10 years. Heard great thing what was for patients, the health industry and commitment to customer service, and I think has gotten as some of these black companies got big laws kind of the wall. You have there would be where there's this goods that
Can you see the Hall of Saves?
Yeah, you can see.
Yeah.
You can see the Hall of Saves, right? It's
and
incredible.
so we have 24/7. It's not on the front. We want to make sure that you talk about patients like the last guest grandparents that was nursing home. They may not support medical company, but they were in hospitals. They great classes and big hospitals.
Yeah, you're doing a great job. And what I love is your background and your experience in marketing too. So, as the managing director, you've done a great job in promoting it to all your clients. And that's really been a game changer for us. I keep saying this, we're going to have a life saved directly as a result of what you've been doing because, now that you're a parent, right, things changed a little bit for you, your perspective on our product.
Yes.
Now that he's getting a little bit bigger and moving around.
Yeah, he's 11 months old and he's eating stuff. So you put that process, it's a ton of years around choking. I'm CPR certified. I'm actually a certified instructor, so I can teach CPR classes. But honestly, the security of having a back in the home, is comforting. Even when warming the high, no guarantee it's gonna work. And
Doesn't always work, right?
that piece is really critical. So I get for my friends, baby shower. My wife is we've got one nursery. Neurotic.
I love it. Well, it's funny that Cassidy too, your customer support, she's amazing. She has 2 little ones and 2 boys that get into everything too. So I think her peace of mind too is knowing that she's protected just in case, God forbid.
Did Brian have something with counterfeits?
So Brian has to share his story. So what I love about Brian is he tells me everything, right? So, he said, you're never going to believe this. I got this phone call from this company and they wanted an invoice, like they had bought products from me, right? And you automatically, you said to me, I had this feeling about this company, right? And then somebody else had contacted you, right? They wanted you to sell their knockoff products that looked like LifeVac.
Yeah, so we feel confident that you're feeling because oftentimes we get calls.
I wonder if the audience
People
knows it well.
we want to we want to make it work for you, make it look like we're selling authentic facts, so they can show the customer or a large retailer, such as like any of the major retailers. Like, so we have a system to make sure that no one's getting unauthorized facts, but I think it is critical for the audience to understand that counterfeits are a very problem, and this is something that the medical industry procedures, manufacturer infection, because you can't, when it comes to supplies and hospital, and let's say for a life, a shoddy job could be the difference between life and not. So, we're so happy to be, promoting anti-practices as opposed to an anti device that from Lord knows where the person to really care to assemble correctly. So we applaud your, and I know it's a ton of energy to keep those our market.
It's like a whack-a-mole game, right? We get one, we shut them down, they pop up somewhere else with another name, and they're pretty crafty with the way that they try to do their retargeting. So, make sure, and I always say this because, Brian happens to be one of our authorized resellers, and any of our resellers always have a special logo, right, that they can put onto their website that basically says that this is something that's an authentic and it's an official LifeVac product. So it's really important for people to be cautioned about that because, people think they're getting a deal and they don't know what they're getting. Half of these devices probably could not save your life, but also could kill you because they're not manufactured properly. They're not regulated by the FDA. And certainly they don't have our one-way patented design, which is infallible, So Brian, remember when we first started together? And I was just thinking back at this, right? I think we had like 100 lives saved at that point. We are at 2,506 lives saved. I think it might be one more. I mean, Donna didn't give me the final number.
The graphic will be upcoming. We
she'll
can
be
watch
yelling
it
at me
together.
later.
No, she's on vacation. She never.
I'm always just on social media. What's crazy to me is just how many people I see life.
Yep, there we go.
Can you see that, Brian? 2,510 and 1,579 children.
Yep.
I mean,
we had a lot of adults today.
As a father, that brings joy to it.
Thank you, Donna Yazzie, for that. She's the keeper of the info and the count.
There was one right in Santa Monica, which made me think of you. I think it was like an 18-month-old. Yeah.
I know. We making sure collecting this story. We our customers to call, but send out to make sure we're right, because those are only the ones, right? So there's a possibility that more of us
underreported.
Yeah, chances are they might have reported it to us and they didn't say exactly who they purchased it from. Oftentimes, they just forget, right? I got it on an ad, but you do a remarkable job and we're just so proud to have you as our partner, and so glad to be still working with you and helping to save some lives, and your family's growing. Maybe you had another one on the way soon.
Oh man,
Nothing to share tonight, Brian?
Yes. We are.
Yes, there's your website. Look at that website. If you're going to the wrong American Hospital Supply, this is what the website should look like. I myself was diverted.
Yes,
there you go.
It's not that, it's
like you guys can find us at hospital.net is the safest way to and we appreciate the influence of this, and really are
yeah, we're gonna get that straight because I don't think that's the right.
Well, we'll make sure we get your information out there. And Brian, I'm just so happy that you joined us. And how's everything out in California?
Everything's good. It's a little hotter this year than normal. I moved when we had to pay capacity from the ocean, so a little bit of adjustment there. But we're loving it, and we're so grateful that I have baby. You know, your words like 6 months we were it's still building up years.
That's great.
Well, if you get out this way, of course, you have a
you got to come and see
stay.
the Hall of Saves. It's incredible.
Yeah.
We'll take you to my beach, right? We got beaches here too.
We're for our long lives, this would be the time we're going to do it. So
For sure.
But yeah, hopefully we will life we have, you know, our CC daughters now, so they, you know, their CC are great, know the hunt, but they want that you're there too. So keep up the great work.
Well, thank you so much for being our partner, and we appreciate you promoting it to your customers because we know that they really need it the most, right? That's where we need to see it, in hospitals, on crash carts. We need to make sure that it is everywhere, especially those nursing care facilities. You know, to the point of one of our earlier guests, you know, I think you know my story, but I have a mother with dementia, and, you know, in memory care facilities, it's a very common thing for choking incidents to happen. So, you know, make sure that all of those nursing care facilities and memory care specifically, because of, you know, the disease itself is terrible, and then the people have a difficult time just swallowing and chewing their food.
I believe that Ackworth, Georgia police body cam just recently was
Tamara Severance, and she ended up saving the life of somebody with her own personal LifeVac. So, you know, we just we're so grateful to you for joining us tonight. Thanks for being a part of it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for helping us grow.
All right.
All right.
Thanks for being part of Show 7. Brian.
It's all good. He's such a great guy.
Yeah, really.
He was
really
literally
good.
my first distributor, and
No
it was
kidding.
so funny because, you know, Arthur's like, oh, we don't need distributors. I was, you know, we really need to launch on Amazon Prime. We need to, you know, there's a bunch of things we needed to do here.
Yeah.
Kind of glad that we
Share
I
a
was
voice,
able to
right? Absolutely.
convince
And
him
how many distributors do you have now?
I have close
Roughly.
to 150, but many of them are smaller versions, and we
These
have a
are the
couple of
bigger
them.
fish?
Well, our dealers are mostly medical supply companies and CPR training companies, so we've got a lot of them.
And I know I've asked you this question before, but if
Sure.
anyone's, you know, wanting to know the difference, I could always use a refresher. Dealer and distributor.
So distributors are like his former company, Cardio Partners,
Gotcha.
AED Superstore. Heart Smart is who Brian worked for previously,
Mhm.
and then he started his own. You know, obviously, as we just heard his story, and I'm sorry that you couldn't hear him very clearly. Hopefully,
don't know.
the audience could.
Sometimes they
he's
can
very
hear better.
eloquent, so I was kind of surprised. I don't know if it has to do with the microphones and so forth, but
Plus, he's going from California, so it's so far away. It's
yeah.
so far.
Well, we have some pretty large clients that are
El Monte,
buying
California.
thousands of products from us. So the distributors actually have a bigger commitment,
Mhm.
and many of which are selling on Amazon as well as our resellers. We have 2 of them that have done a great job with promoting our product on Amazon. And so you can find us everywhere. You know, it's obviously something that I tell everybody, lifevac.net. You know that you're always getting an authentic product buying directly from us. But
Yes.
we also have these great resellers like Brian and like some of the other people that have visited us on the show.
Talk about Amazon for a second. You can find a real LifeVac on Amazon,
You
but
can.
you gotta be very careful, right?
Well, we actually had to make a big investment in a brand registry program and transparency stickering, which was, to protect the fact that the product that they're getting is authentic. And so that's something that our partners have had to work with us and collaborate with us on. And it's been a journey, right? So we did have a number of those renegade resellers that were out there. They would buy the products, from different resellers and try to resell on Amazon. And, nobody knew what they were getting. I finally got a phone call from a woman who works at the Book Fairies, and the Book Fairies have a wonderful charity here on Long Island. So one of the women at she's a Massapequa girl, Eileen Minogue, I love her. So I donated to her because there's developmentally disabled people that are working there. So one of the women at her office actually went to go buy for her daughter. Her daughter was having a baby, and she gets this thing in the mail, and she goes, Heidi, it's not LifeVac. It doesn't look anything like what we have in our office.
Right.
So they had bought it on Walmart, and she thought she was getting a deal, and it turned out it was one of these devices that's manufactured in China, and it literally was glued together and fell apart, didn't suction. And so, Pat, thank God, brought it to my attention. So we shut down selling on Walmart for a while there because they had no checkpoints to make sure that it was coming, and it was, an authentic LifeVac product.
Yeah.
So it's been a big challenge. The counterfeit device is battling
Fight
them.
it every day.
every day.
Donna Marie.
Donna Marie, she's
Yeah.
amazing. Yep.
Having a baby
So-
soon herself.
I know.
But-
Any day now.
Any doubt, go to lifevac.net, get yourself an actual one or any of the resellers that Heidi has.
Yep. Our dealers
Calls.
are doing a great job.
Yep.
You know, many of which what they're doing is, and we always talk about how choking rescue protocols don't always work, right? A really sad story came to me today from a gentleman out in Oregon, and he is a first responder. He saved his wife, loved steak. She had choked on steak. He had saved his wife. The second time, unfortunately, she passed, and he's having a memorial for her. And when Steve reached out to me, it's so heart-wrenching when you have these conversations with people that have lost loved ones. I mean, he's a firefighter, trained, certified, knows exactly what to do, and his wife died in his arms. And there's no words that you can say to make somebody feel better at that point. That's why we do what we do. You know, I mean, I had a really good cry today, thinking about Steve and his wife, Susan, who is no longer with him, his wife of 50 years. And, you know, he's doing this memorial. And what he wants to do at the memorial, which I thought was so remarkable, is he is going to display a LifeVac. He's going to share postcards about our product and direct people to our website and have them call me. And I just thought that that was a remarkable thing to do, specifically in honor and memory of his wife. You know,
out of great grief and tragedy. There's we talked about Gina Keeley and honoring her daughter Paige, and J.S. Sparrow was with us and honoring his grandmother Anne.
And Brian, you know, he works with some large companies, and he decided, you know what, I can do a great job and I can reach the market that I need to, and he's doing a remarkable job. So that's why I think it's important for us to feature and highlight some of these people that are out there as our boots on the ground.
Right.
Because back in the day, it was just me for the entire country. Thank you, Lord. I've got you and a lot of great people now to help us.
Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but we
do. We have a few. We have a
small but passionate team.
Absolutely.
We're trying, but it's a big country.
But that's why, you know, obviously I need to boots on the ground out there. And so, you know, that's why I said to Arthur, it's really important that we have this reseller program, because they have customers that want our product and need our product, but they might not know it. So part of what we do is we train.
What we talked about earlier, raising awareness is half the battle. And we've talked about not only your efforts.
Training.
The training video, it's an easy product to get trained on, but the body cam, the news coverage, Inside Edition has like close to 20 saves attributed to where'd you hear about it? Inside Edition, Fox News Channel, Brian Kilmeade, in double digits of lives saved, and the impact that they're making and helping spread awareness is just remarkable, and it's in like a good friendly competition.
Yeah, but you know, also too, when you think about the first aid companies that we're working with, like for instance Cintas, I worked with them, you know, to implement it in all the IKEA stores, and you know, they're focused on first aid and safety, right? You know, again, there's many organizations that we're working with that, you know, directly are impacting, and we had a save down at IKEA down in Florida. So again, these are things that are happening little by little, but these organizations that are out there doing the training, so they're out there doing CPR training, they're doing AED training, and they're incorporating LifeVac into part of their training. And you know, they're, in some cases, many of them are American Heart and American Red Cross trainers, but they say, I'm going to take off my hat for a second here, and I'm coming to you as a parent, as a grandparent, as somebody who cares about my loved ones. And the reason why we need to have this product is, if everything I just taught you fails, what are you going to do?
And it fails at least 30% of the time.
But not only that, I'm telling you that story about the gentleman who was a firefighter who lost his wife in his arms. He did everything he was trained to do. Okay, so we know it fails, unfortunately, but we need another option, because the first responders don't want anyone to die on their watch, and it's tragic. I've talked to too many of them, and it stays with them, because they're like, I lost a kid today, or I lost an adult. There's a gentleman who choked to death inside a restaurant, and they said we had to make a decision: the multiple car crash on 95 or this gentleman choking in a restaurant.
Wow.
Well, you hope and pray somebody in that restaurant knows what to do, and they didn't. And unfortunately, that gentleman is no longer here with us. And so it could happen to anyone, right? And all these things. But those first responders, they took an initiative. Yeah, they actually put it in every one of their patrol cars, and they went out there and they said, Heidi, come and present to our chamber. And we presented to the restaurant where he passed, and everybody, you know, was really on board.
Yeah.
The entire city council got behind it and made sure that they were equipped.
Well,
so
that is why we're here. That is why we're doing this show. This is why we're in Massapequa with this wonderful studio audience.
Studio audience.
Most of whom most of whom who are Warners, pretty much all of
They're
them.
awesome.
But hey, they've been with us.
We've got the Ritas
and now we
and the
are
Warners.
treating them to anything they want, really, at the Massapequa Diner. And Bobby and the crew.
Big stack of
More than welcome
pancakes.
to come across the streets of the Massapequa Diner. We thank you so much for joining us on LifeVac Live. We'll see you. We won't see you next week, but we'll see. Oh, love the mugs. Arthur Lee.
Thank you, Arthur.
Thank you, Arthur.
I'll bring you one.
Bless you. There's Arthur's chiming in remotely. So he's why we're here. He invented this beauty in 2012 and over 2,500 lives saved. He'd like us to say, keep going. And so we'll
Keep
say it
going.
for him. Keep going.
Keep
And we'll see you
going.
next time on LifeVac
Change
Live.
the world. Thank you. Have a good night.